Start the game, you draw 5 cards. This is your hand. And you start with 2 workers. Here's my 2 mice, 2 squirrels for the AI opponent. They're blocking out a couple of worker placement spots. These paw prints are worker placement spots. These closed circles, you can place 1 worker there. Okay, then it's blocked, no one else can go there. These open circles, they've got an open bottom section. You can place any number of workers here. At the start of the game, in the solo game, they're always taking up the take 3 twigs resources spot. And the top leftmost, these are called forest cards. Remember I said some of the worker placement spots are custom each game. So in here we've got a single spot, can be taken by a single worker. In this case it happens to be take 3 berries, which is actually a really nice one. And then this second spot is only available in 4-player games, so we'll ignore this one. So he's taken up those 2 spots. The game plays relatively quickly as it goes, and we're going to speed through the first season of the game. A year in the game consists of 3 seasons: spring, summer and autumn. It says in the solo game that if you complete a year and you complete a game, effectively you're finishing a game, 30 to 40 minutes for a solo game, then play a game, but this time the AI opponent becomes a little bit more difficult, and then a 3rd year difficult again. And if you can conquer all 3 levels of difficulty, then you've defeated the game as a soloist. All right. So I'm just going to introduce you to the basic game, the basic difficulty, the first game that you play. All right. If you want to play just that game, then and always play that game, that's enough. You don't have to ramp up the difficulty if you don't want to. Okay. So our objective, as you know, is to score victory points, and we're going to score victory points primarily by building a tableau of cards. Here's our main deck, here's our hand. You've got a hand limit of 8 cards. You can never draw cards that will take your hand above 8. Alright, so always remember that, keep that in your mind. This here is called the Meadow. This is kind of like the offer of cards. What's interesting in this game is when you play cards to your tableau, you can play cards from your hand or from the Meadow, and that offers an interesting dynamic playing multiplayer because everyone's going to see these 8 cards in the Meadow and competing for them. In the solo variant, with each passing season, we're going to get new workers, and the AI is going to place them on these cards and kind of block those out as well, so look out for that. This worker, as each season passes, is going to move this way, and this worker is going to move this way. Okay, so different spots will be blocked out with each passing season. On your turn, you can do one of 3 things. You can place one of your workers in one of these worker placement spots. Now this here, called the journey, it says is only open in autumn. Alright, so we'll ignore this one for the beginning. You can place your workers in worker placement spots. What's interesting, I don't have it, I do, here's one, the storehouse. Some of these cards have worker placement spots. In your tableau, if I play this in my tableau, this becomes a worker placement spot as well. Not just for me, but for other players as well, not in the solo game. If this were in the Meadow, you can't place your workers here. Alright, it can only be placed when they're in a tableau. Okay. So you can place a worker. Workers are out there to primarily gather resources, because you'll need resources to complete your second action. And your second action is to play a card into your tableau. If you look at your cards, you'll see along the left hand side is a resource cost. This storehouse, for example, costs 1 twig, 1 resin and 1 pebble. And I can place that in my tableau. I start the game with no resources at all. Critters like this tend to cost berries. This lookout, this wanderer, costs 2 berries. Unless, and this is this key here, if I have the lookout in my tableau, I can play the wanderer for free. Costs nothing. And remember, these things will give you victory points at the end of the game. This postal pigeon here gives you 0 victory points, but it's balanced by the fact that it has a really good ability. It says reveal 2 cards and you may play one worth up to 3 victory points for free and discard the other. Okay, so we have to think about the long term. This is about building a tableau that's going to generate victory points for you and allow you to get other cards into play more quickly. The other thing to bear in mind is these suits. I mentioned in the opening that if you collect cards in your tableau of the same suit, then that's another way to gain victory points. So for example, it says the Harvest Festival event, if you have 4 of these with this green shoot, then that will give you these 3 victory points. So look out for building sets in your tableau. If you don't build them, then the AI will, and they're worth 3 victory points each. Now the other thing, just before I dive into gameplay, because I'm going to give you a little bit of a strategy tip to understand why we're doing what we're doing. We want to score more victory points than the AI. Now what's going to happen is every time we play a card to our tableau, the AI is going to grab one of these randomly. That's why we've been provided with a D8. Okay, 8-sided die, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He'll just take one randomly and place it in his tableau. He'll ignore the victory points on these cards. Every card that the AI takes will just be pushed aside. It won't do anything, it won't have any abilities, it won't have any properties, it won't look at it again. It's going to give the AI 2 victory points. That's key to us because every time we play a card to our tableau, we know the AI is going to take another card and take 2 victory points. So we've got to make sure that we're staying ahead of that. Alright? So we can stay ahead of it by gaining these sets, and if we gain them before the AI does, we'll take those 3 victory points. Obviously that's a net gain of 6, right? We're taking 3 away from him and giving us 3. Because if the AI takes, a set of 3 throughout the course of the game, then they will take that special 3 victory point event, okay, up there. They're called basic events. Alright, so that's strategy tip number 1. We've got to make sure that we're netting at least more than 2 victory points and at least 2 victory points from each card that we play to our tableau. It could be that there's long-term games, so maybe we can play this dungeon for 0 or this pigeon for 0 if we think it's going to net us more in the end, because we play this to our tableau, AI is going to grab 2 victory points straight away when they take a card to theirs. Alright, the other thing that can keep us ahead of the game is these 4 special events up here. These 4 special events will give you victory points, but if you don't take them at the end of the game, every special event that you haven't taken is going to give the AI 3 victory points. So that's 12 points for him right there off the bat, okay? So you might say, well, just don't play anything to your tableau, get through the game, don't let him take his 2, you're going to lose, because you need to play cards to your tableau to get these special events, and that's 12 points for the AI. And remember, we get these by collecting the items. We've got the monk and the dungeon here, we've got the chip sweep and the clock tower here. So look out for those. They're going to be key to taking points away from the AI. And again, it's points for us and taking 3 points away from them. That's a proper net gain. Right, let's get into this and see what we can do. So play a card, play a worker. Alright. So let's have a look. So we've got worker spots to gain twigs. We've got worker spots to gain each of these resources. Some of these worker spots allow you to do card draws as well. There's a handy little draw stack. We've got our special spots as well. So this one gives me berries. This one says I can discard up to 3 cards and gain any 1 resource for each card. So that's really good. Haven is a good spot. You may discard any number of cards in your hand, and for every 2 you discard, you gain 1 resource. Obviously this one here is a little better. He's going to block that out in the 2nd season, so in summer this is going to be gone. So it's springtime. We start the game in winter. Okay, we start in winter. As we move into spring, so there's going to be 4 seasons in total. We got this kind of starter one. You're not going to be able to do a great deal. Maybe you'll get 1 or 2 cards. Maybe you'll get 4 or 5 cards. It depends on a little bit of the luck of the draw and how clever you are with your combos. What else have we got? And we've got one over here. Draw 2 cards and any 1 resource. So we've actually got some really good worker placement spots. Let's have a look in our hand. I'm interested in getting cards that chain together, and obviously I'm keen to get some of these constructions up as well. The Evertree is a really good card. It's got lots of victory points, so I'm quite keen to take that. But it is top left, and what's going to happen in the next season is he's going to block it out with his worker. So if I don't take it, he will. So I think the crane's going to be good. The crane, architect, Evertree, grab some resources. I like these ideas. So crane's going to cost a pebble. So let's go grab some pebbles. So I'm going to go in here and get lots of resources. It's interesting because the first part of the game is really about, just finding your feet a little bit and thinking about where is it you want to go, what is it you want to do, what's going to be your strategy. And at the moment I'm not keen to play cards until I'm ready to play cards, because there's a risk. The risk is that I take the crane and then he takes the Evertree before I get a chance to take it. So we'll see. Right, I want to get rid of 3 cards, but which 3 cards? I like the Palace because she's good for the Queen, it says. If you look in the bottom right hand corner, it gives you a clue about which critters can reside in these places. You can always pay the resources, pay the berries to put the critters into play. But if you've got the construction, you can get them for free. And I do need the Queen, so I might hold on to the Palace. I can't use her at the moment. Lookout I like. So I'm going to get rid of the storehouse, the general store, and postal pigeon. They're not fitting with my strategy. The green ones are good, and the reason why the green ones are good is because they give you extra resources. So maybe this isn't a great opening strategy, and the green ones are good because when we move to the next season, they're actually going to produce resources. So maybe I should keep the storehouse. No, I'm going to play these. I'll get rid of these 3. So we'll get rid of the general store, postal pigeon, and the wanderer. Okay. These go face down in the discard pile, just here in the bottom of the meadow. And then I can take 3 resources, and I'm going to take 3 pebbles. Second worker, I need 3 more resources really. I can't get them because the 3 berries and the 3 sticks are taken. So I might have to wait a little while. So let's grab 2 sticks and a card. Okay, 2 sticks and a card. 2 sticks and a card. And I get the school. This one's quite cool. It says at the end of the game, I get 1 victory point for each common critter in my city. Critters are either common or unique, as are constructions. The school is a unique construction, the palace is a unique construction, the storehouse is a common construction. It says it here, unique, common. You can have as many storehouses in your tableau as you wish because they're common. You can only have 1 school and you can only have 1 palace because they're unique. Same goes for critters. Alright, so that's my 2 workers gone. All I can do now is play cards. But I do have some resources. Let's do this. I'm going to grab the crane. It costs 1 pebble. Here it is. I'm grabbing it from the tableau. There's it cost 1 pebble. Okay, it says when playing a construction, you may discard this crane from your city to play that construction for 3 fewer resources. All right, cool. Now these sorts of combo. I'm just going to start my tableau. Let's start it over here. Okay, these sorts of plays aren't that good in the solo game because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 card plays to get this palace in, which is going to net him 4 victory points because every time I play a card, he's going to gain victory points. But the palace gives me 1 victory point for each unique construction in my city. So actually, it's going to give me 5 because it's 4 plus this 1. All right. So anyway, there we go. I'm getting ahead. The crane's now in my tableau. So all I've done is picked it up, paid the resources, and placed it in my city. Placed it in my tableau. First thing you do is refill the spot. Okay, we've got fairgrounds come into play, which allows you to draw 2 cards. Now, because I've placed a card in my tableau, AI will roll the dice. Number 6 has come up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to take the judge and place that in his tableau. All we do for the AI, he doesn't have a tableau, we're just going to keep them in suits. The rulebook's really nice, by the way. It's got lots of little lore, lots of little fluff. That's really well laid out. The instructions are simple and easy to follow. So blue is for governance. Okay, that's scroll. The purple flower is prosperity. The red paw is destination. The green leaf is production. And then this knapsack is the tan traveller. Okay, so those are the five suits. Okay, cool. Right, so I've got one card, the crane, in my tableau. He's taken the judge, we refill. I'm now going to take the architect, which would typically cost 4 berries, but because I've got the crane, I can play this for free. It says crane at the top left, and also at the bottom here it says architect, to show that you can play him for free. Okay, so I've got the architect. It only gives me 2 victory points, which is fine. I'm netting against the AI's 2 victory points, but it does have a special. It says it gives me 1 victory point at the end of the game for each of my unused resin and pebbles to a maximum of 6. If I can collect resin and pebbles, that's a good way to score points and get the edge over the AI. Now I don't want the architect particularly for anything else. That's one feel. I do want that dungeon, so I don't want him to take that dungeon. And I think we want the historian as well. So these are the 2 that I'm keen to take. They're not unique though, they will come up again. You know, these cards, there are more than them. One of them in that big thick deck. Oops. Number 1, okay, he's taken the Evertree. Alright, that's a flower, purple flower. And there's ruins, okay. This is interesting actually. Right, this one here wants the dungeon and the monk. The monk's not available. This one needs the ruins and the historian. Historian costs 2 berries. Thinking I could take the dungeon for free rather than the palace. I'm actually going to take the ruins. Yeah, I'm going to take the ruins. It doesn't have any cost, which is cool. It's just a terrible spot it fills in your tableau, but it is a requirement for one of these special events. Okay, he gets another 2 victory points. Card number 2, the Doctor. Refill, he's going to take number 2, there's another architect. That's a green leaf. Got an inn. I don't need the inn. Remember, I'm watching these all the time. Dungeon, the queen I want for the palace, and ruins and historian. There's nothing I can do in terms of getting the historian. I quite like the idea of putting the storehouse down now to get me. There's too many choices. I think I'm going to take the dungeon while I can. Alright, let's do this. I'm going to use the crane. It says, when playing a construction, you may discard this crane from your city to play that construction for 3 fewer resources. So I'm going to discard the crane for 3 resources. I'm going to take 2 stone and a resin, effectively. And take the dungeon and place the dungeon. What the dungeon says, so this goes into my tableau. What the dungeon says is, when playing a construction or critter, you may place a critter from your city face down beneath this dungeon to decrease the cost by 3 resources. So I could place the architect in the dungeon, which might not be a bad idea. So we're actually doing well in this winter season. We've got the minor mole. I'm looking for that monk. And then obviously he's going to grab another. You see, we've got 3 things in. We've only got 2 victory points, and he's going to grab a 4th. That's 8 already. So he's racing ahead. He's grabbed the historian. That's what we didn't want to happen. That's number 5. Never mind. Yeah, I still don't have enough to pay for the palace. Do I put the storehouse in already? I don't think I do. I think we're going to wait. I think we're going to wait. All right, let's wait. Okay, I'm going to end this. I guess the only thing is, farm is good. I don't really need the farm, do I? The thing about the farm is it will give me berries. No, I might pay that. I'm going to put the storehouse in. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Okay. I'm going to use the dungeon's ability. The dungeon will say, when playing a construction or a critter, place a critter from your city face down beneath this dungeon to decrease the cost by 3 resources. So the architect's going underneath my dungeon. Then I'm going to put the storehouse in play for free. These green production cards activate as soon as you put them in play. It says place either 3 wood, 2 resin, 1 pebble, or 2 berries on this storehouse from the supply. So we can choose what do we want to store in this storehouse. The other good thing is at the end of the season, these green things produce again. So I'm actually going to get more stuff. And it can be any one of those 4 things again. And I'm going to put 2 resin on there. Okay, because I know that his worker is going to block that 2 resin spot. Alright, but I've played a card, which means he now gets to play a card another 2 points. It's number 6. That's the post office, which is a 4. He doesn't have one of those yet. Shopkeeper. Okay. Shopkeeper is played for free at the general store. The wife is for free at the farm, so that's always good. But I don't have any resin to play the farm. So now we're going to end the season. The season ends. We take back our workers. Look at the top of the Evertree, because what it says is, as we head into spring, we gain a new worker, this little guy up here, and all the green production stuff produce. So if we look in our tableau, we've got 1, that's a storehouse, and we can choose what we want to place there. Now I'm going to put 2 more resin. 2 more resin. I was tempted by 2 berries, but that 3 berry spot's going to come open for workers, and I've got 3 workers for this next season. Okay, now we've ended the season. The season's going to end for him as well. So he grabs a worker, and what he does is he places it on the top left card in the meadow. And then this worker rotates counterclockwise, and then this worker steps across to the 2 resin spot. That's why I was gathering resin while I could. But I can go here. It's 1 resin and 1 card. I'm going to need some more cards, I think. And the other thing you do is check the AI's tableau now at the season end, and you check these things here. They've got 3 of the blue scrolls, or 3 of the 3 brown footprints and so on. Then they grab these events. They don't. They've got 2 of these and then 1 of the others. That's why you keep them in suits like this, right? 1, 2, 1, 1 at the moment. Okay, so now it's back to us, and we get to play more cards and place our workers.